This is a breaking and unprecedented story at the heart of American politics. A Florida insurance attorney, Lindsay Halligan, who had never prosecuted a single case, is suddenly sitting as interim U.S. attorney in one of the most powerful offices in the country, the Eastern District of Virginia. And in her very first days, she managed to indict former FBI Director James Comey, barely before the statute of limitations expired. The entire case, and the way it came together, raises urgent questions about legality, authority, and the future of the Justice Department under Donald Trump's influence. Halligan's sudden rise is shocking. Just weeks ago, her only experience in federal court was as one of Trump's personal lawyers. She was never Senate confirmed, never part of the Justice Department's career ranks, and never in charge of a grand jury. Yet after the president lost patience with the previous interim U.S. attorney who refused to bring charges against Comey, Halligan was installed almost overnight, and she went straight to work on her first-ever prosecution. By all accounts, it was a chaotic debut. The indictment against Comey was only 2 pages long, double-spaced, and signed by Halligan herself, an unusual step typically handled by career prosecutors. Reports say that the Department of Justice headquarters refused to provide lawyers to assist her, and even requests for paralegal support were denied. In the end, she stood before a grand jury, unfamiliar with the process, and just 14 of the 23 members voted to indict. That was enough to clear the 12-vote threshold, but it was a razor-thin outcome. The spectacle did not end there. Halligan walked into the wrong courtroom, stood on the wrong side of the judge, and appeared confused by her own paperwork. At one point, a federal judge confronted her after discovering 2 different indictments, both with her signature, but carrying inconsistent charges. Halligan admitted she only signed the 2-count indictment and had no idea how a 3-count version with her name appeared in the record. James Comey now faces 2 charges, making false statements to Congress and obstruction of justice. But even those charges may not survive. Conservative lawyers, including George Conway, argue that Halligan was never validly appointed under 28 U.S.C. 546, the law governing interim U.S. attorneys. Without Senate confirmation, without a valid order from the Attorney General or district court judges, Halligan had no more authority to sign an indictment than any private citizen. In Conway's words, she had the same legal standing as you, me, or even my 2 corgis. That's the key point. If the indictment was invalid from the start, and if the statute of limitations has now expired, then Comey cannot be re-indicted. In effect, Trump's hand-picked prosecutor may have doomed the very case she was sent in to deliver. A shocking twist in a saga that was supposed to deliver accountability, but may collapse in legal embarrassment. The political implications are enormous. Trump appears to have placed a loyalist, not a qualified prosecutor, at the center of the Justice Department's most sensitive cases. Halligan's appointment short-circuited the usual checks: no Senate confirmation, no Justice Department oversight, no traditional authority. The pattern is clear. Loyalty above competence, politics above process. Inside the courtroom, that approach backfired. Halligan's mistakes undermined the case before it even started. Outside the courtroom, the legitimacy of the Justice Department itself is at stake. If U.S. attorneys can be hand-picked and installed without following the law, then the entire system of checks and balances is weakened. James Comey's legal team is already preparing to challenge the indictment. Pat Fitzgerald, the former U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, will lead his defense. Fitzgerald is a powerhouse known for high-profile prosecutions, and with the statute of limitations already passed, he has a strong argument to throw out the case entirely. Meanwhile, Trump's allies are already pushing new narratives, linking the Comey indictment to conspiracy theories about the FBI's role on January 6th. The president himself has suggested looking into current FBI Director Christopher Wray, further politicizing the Bureau. But CBS News and other outlets have confirmed there is no evidence of FBI agents directing or inciting the Capitol riot. All eyes are now on the Eastern District of Virginia. The next few days will decide whether this case survives or collapses. If the indictment is thrown out, Comey walks free, and Trump is left with another failed attempt to weaponize the Justice Department. If somehow it survives, it sets up one of the most high-profile trials in recent memory. Either way, the damage is already done. The rule of law has been bent, institutions have been strained, and the public has been given a front-row seat to the fragility of American justice when politics takes over. This case may be over before it begins. The statute of limitations expired at midnight. The indictment may be invalid, and Comey may have just been handed a get-out-of-jail-free card courtesy of Trump's hand-picked prosecutor. Stay with us, because the next 48 hours could reshape the future of this case, the Justice Department, and the balance of power in Washington.